Do you want to raise? I know that's a really weird way to start the video. I haven't made a video in a while. The last video that I made, I ended up deleting. So this is going to be kind of a jumble of different things together, kind of an update, but focused mostly on business because that's the biggest thing I've been focusing on for a while. And I haven't really talked about it that much. Like I've mentioned in passing, it's just because it's business. I'm like, it's kind of boring talking about it for people who aren't in the business. So it's just, I don't know, I didn't feel the need to mention it or to describe it, explain it in detail until now. And since I recently transitioned to something else, now seemed like a good time. Also, quick mention, the reason I deleted the last video is because I was telling the story of how I met my girlfriend and everything, and like I normally do, I shared every single detail without considering, oh wait, maybe she's not as open as I am. Most people aren't. I'm very weird in that sense. And I realized after, like, okay, I did not consider her feelings. And it's like, most people prefer to keep private things private. And out of respect for her, I decided to delete the video. So if you're wondering what video I'm really referring to, or if this is the first video you've watched in a while and you're like, wait, since when do you have a girlfriend? Well, that's the reason why that video is gone. All right, moving on. So I've talked about business a few times and had a few different ones in the last 6 months. So first one that was, I don't know, I think in April, May, around that time, something like that. I think it was around May. Was, running a newsletter, doing affiliate marketing, stuff like that. And I thought it's what I wanted to do, but I quickly realized I don't want the pressure, the responsibility of having an email list and running it and finding offers and creating content every single week, or if I want to do more often, every single day. It's just not something I want to do. So I quickly realized that and kind of moved on to other stuff. So about 3.5 months ago by now, started a business with my friend Aaron, who I've surely talked about in the past. I had another YouTube show with him that got a ton of views, maybe 10 or 12. But it was just us talking, being friends and talking about business and everything. And at one point we were just talking and he came up with this idea of like, hey, what if we taught people to create their own Facebook group in 5 minutes per day? Because that's his expertise. He's worked with a bunch of different communities to build up the communities, create the engagement, to monetize them. And we realized, all right, we can do that for people who are entrepreneurs who want to build their own Facebook group and who want to get more clients and don't really want to spend hours and hours and hours doing that. So since that's his expertise, we're like, yeah, okay, let's present this in a 5 minute per day format. That way it's not overwhelming, it's easy, it's step by step. And since he's an expert at that, he can be the one teaching people. I'm really good at, building sales funnels, building websites, members area, creating webinars, graphics, stuff like that. I don't necessarily love that, but I'm really good at it. And I really like the idea of doing the work once and getting paid and not having to do much work after that. So that's why it was the perfect arrangement for both of us. So we spent about 2 months building that out. And then about a couple weeks, so maybe half a month, less than that, getting to the point where it's like, all right, the webinar is ready, we can start driving traffic. So we started driving a few people. First webinar, no one showed up. Second one, no one showed up. Third one, a few people showed up. We got good feedback, so we're like, cool. And then my friend kind of had a emotional break, if you will. I don't want to go into too much detail because that's not my place to explain, but basically, tried drugs for the first time in his life and realized some shit about himself that he didn't like, and that kind of like threw him into a depression of just rethinking everything and getting his life together. So he kind of was processing through that for a few weeks. So while he was doing that, I'm like, I'll keep promoting the business, trying to get new clients and stuff like that. That way when he comes back, we'll have clients and we can start making money. But after a couple of weeks, he's like, it's getting worse. I need to take a break from social media. I'm taking a month off. So I'm like, okay, he's the one who needs to teach the students, the clients. That's not my expertise. He's gone for minimum a month, maybe more. I don't know how he's going to be when he comes back. I don't know if the business is still going to exist. I don't know if we're both going to want to do it. So I'm like, I can't just sit around twiddling my thumbs doing nothing, especially since I have a girlfriend now, I'm traveling, my budget is running out. Like I can't afford to just sit around and do nothing. Quick side note about my girlfriend. The beauty of being in a relationship with someone like her, because she's very encouraging, very supportive. She challenges me, with things I need to be challenged with and wants me to get better for myself and just grow and be successful in all these things. And I really appreciate that. And I'm discovering the true power of this because when you have someone like that in your life who's super supportive, encouraging, who wants you to succeed, that makes me as a man want to provide for her. Makes me want to give her the life that she deserves. So I have like a ton of motivation. I'm like, I am going to succeed no matter what. Failure is not an option. But that one business is on indefinite pause and I don't know what's going to happen with it. So I need another business in the meantime. So I'm like, all right, what am I good at? What are my skill sets? How can I quickly make money? Easiest way to make money is through coaching because you don't need a website. You don't need a sales funnel. You just need to find clients, help them, and you get paid. I'm like, all right, let's do coaching. What is my expertise? Few weeks, or actually a few days before I realized, all right, I need a new business. I did an interview on a podcast with a friend of mine that I met a year and a half ago. And I was telling my entire story, you know, all the stuff I've run through, my near-death experiences, all the failures, all the insecurities, you know, overcoming all the fears and everything. And it made me realize the common theme throughout all of that is the theme of falling in love with fear, doing what scares you, stepping out of your comfort zone, facing fears until you become so confident as a person that nothing scares you anymore. It's that strategy of instead of just defeating the fear is you befriend the fear. So instead of losing the power that it has, you use it to your own advantage. So I realized, all right, that's what I'm really good at. So I started leaning into that, started doing a little, you know, promotion, like free promotion, marketing on Facebook, reaching out, creating engagement in groups and stuff like that. And got 2 people who were very interested. Unfortunately, they couldn't afford to pay me. Because I'm like, for this business, I don't want to go low end. I'm going high end, like $6,600 for 66 days. Like very high end, very intense, very transformative. Unfortunately, they couldn't afford to. So I'm like, all right, let's make a deal. We're going to start with a fraction of the price. And I'm going to work with you and slowly get you to the point where you can afford me. So instead of paying $6,600 up front, I'm like, all right, it was near the beginning of October. So I'm like, all right, this month, $6.60. Next month, $66. Next month, $660. And then by the end of the year, we'll get you to the point where you can afford me. That way, January 1st, we'll start $6,600 for 66 days and really hit the ground running. That was the strategy. First one ended up bailing after less than a week. Other one hasn't bailed. He paid me. The other one didn't even pay me. Like we started working together and I'm like, all right, you like pay me. She's like, oh, I'm getting like the paycheck on Friday, so I'll pay you that. So I'm like, all right. And she ended up bailing. So anyway, the other one didn't bail. He did pay me, but he's like, oh, I fell back in old habits. Like I, started drinking, smoking weed. And it's like, I want to get back on track before we begin officially. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but that's my role as a coach is to help you through this process. But it's like every time I'd reach out, he'd be like, oh yeah, we need to like hop on a call, and it just would never happen. And it got to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm giving up. If he reaches out, he wants my help, great, I'll help him. Until then, there's nothing I can do if he doesn't want my help. So that kind of like fell through. So far from my new coaching business, I made $6.60. Yay, I'm rich. So I was starting doing that, got a few other people interested. Most of them couldn't afford, so I realized I need to shift my target audience. So I was trying to help entrepreneurs who were getting started and were struggling, and that's great because I can help them a lot. Unfortunately, it's bad because they can't afford to pay me. So I'm like, all right, let's approach more successful people. So like CEOs, successful entrepreneurs who did get that financial success but are holding themselves back because of fear in other areas. So I was starting to transition towards that, but it was kind of like falling through, and that's at the point where, that one client canceled everything, the other one's like basically bailing, and I'm like, all right, I need to rethink things. And one night I was in bed and I was just kind of like talking to the universe, because even though I was raised atheist, I now consider myself agnostic because there's a lot of things that can't be explained by science. So I don't believe in an almighty God, but I do believe there's some sort of power out there that is controlling things. Whether it's the video game theory or the simulation theory, whatever it is, I don't know exactly, but I do believe there's something out there. I refer to whatever that is as the universe. So I was talking to the universe saying this is hard, this is difficult, like I feel like I'm wasting my time. Like, can you send me a sign that I'm doing the right thing? Can you help me? Can you send me help? And ironically, the next morning, that's when one of my clients reached out saying, "Yeah, I'm canceling our agreement and I'm canceling our coaching sessions. Like, I'm going to do my own thing. Thanks for everything, but I'm out." And then the other one kind of fell through. So I'm like, "Okay, I asked for help yesterday." And then the universe is like, boom, basically both clients gone. I'm like, thanks. That's not really what I was asking for, but okay. And then that day I ended up spending with my girlfriend. So I wasn't really focusing on the business, but at some point I was telling her about, what happened and everything. And it hit me. I'm like, wait, yesterday I saw a post in a group from a guy. And the guy, like, I don't know him personally, but he uses a software called ClickFunnels, and they have awards that they give out to members who make $1 million on their platform and $10 million, and he won the $10 million one. So very, very, very successful. And he's like, "Hey, I want to help 10 entrepreneurs build their coaching business from scratch to automated in 30 days. Leave a comment if you're interested." I'm like, okay, super successful, definitely qualified. I don't know if he's charging, but it's worth reaching out. So I reached out, and then the next day, boom, both clients are gone. I'm like, well, this sucks. But then later in the day, I'm like, wait, that guy. Because by the next day, like, we spoke a bit and I had an idea of what it was. And basically, I'm going to help you build your coaching business from zero to automated in 6 weeks, because I'm launching a new program to help people do that, and I want 10 people to give me testimonials for that software. So not only am I going to walk you through the entire structure and the entire system, but we're going to have one-on-one coaching sessions. We're going to work together to get you those results. And he's asking for, because he's like, I don't want to give it away for free because people who don't pay for stuff don't value it. Completely 100% understand. The proof is the fact that both of the clients, that one didn't pay me, the other paid me a very micro amount, ended up bailing. So I'm like, I completely understand. I get it. Unfortunately, he's asking for 500 US, which is almost 700 Canadian. I'm like, I'm running out of money. I'm traveling. Like, I need to be successful to support my girlfriend. Like, I can't afford to take any risk. So I need to make sure that if I do this, it's going to be the right thing. So, I was upfront with that and everything. Is like, all right, I did the conversion, like in Canadian, it's almost 700. So I'm going to give it to you for 600 Canadian instead of, 500 US. And if for any reason, at any point in the process, you're not satisfied, let me know and I'll give you a full refund. So basically, there's a guy who's made $10 million online through coaching, who wants to help set up the entire business the way that he did it himself for $600, and it's guaranteed if it doesn't work. So I'm like, okay, I have nothing to lose, but in my mind, I'm like, I still have a very limited budget at the moment. I can't afford to fail. I don't know if I should do it. And that very morning, like, both of my clients fell through, and I'm like, man, what should I do? But then the afternoon, I was speaking to my girlfriend, and I was explaining how this guy, had this offer and everything, and I wanted her feedback and her thoughts and whatever. And at some point, it hit me like, oh shit! Yesterday, I asked the universe to help me, to send me a sign, and then boom, both of my clients are just swept aside. They're like, here's this guy who's super good at what he does, who's charging a tiny amount of money with a money back guarantee, who wants to help you. Are you going to take the help or not? And I'm like, okay, I'm an idiot if I don't take this help, because there's no downside, there's nothing to lose, and it came right after I asked for help from the universe. So that's really what I've been leaning into for the last week or so, and we're going to start officially in, by now, 1 to 2 weeks, while he gets the other people. So right now I'm like, hey, I want to get started now. I want results now because my budget is limited. I want to start getting results as soon as possible. What can I do in the meantime before we begin to get started, to potentially get a client before we officially begin? So he's been helping me back and forth. He gave me some material to go through and to kind of figure out who my ideal customer is and how to help him and create the offer and everything. And it made me realize, helping people fall in love with fear is very vague. I've known that, but it worked in the sense that whenever I talk to someone about it, they're like, oh, that sounds cool. What is it about? And it got the conversation going. But at the end of the day, it's the process of facing fears, overcoming them, and becoming more confident. That's what the entire process of falling in love with fear is. So I realized, all right, I help people develop their confidence. So I was thinking, all right, what niches can I go into? Because just helping people be more confident is not niche down enough. I need to be like, hey, I'm going to help you overcome approach anxiety so you're better at speaking to women. That is niche down. So I was thinking, and that dating thing kept coming back. Given everything I've been through, I'm perfectly qualified to be a dating coach. Not only, I was a virgin until 30, it's like, overcame all that fear, I was addicted to porn, erectile dysfunction, like all those things that I struggled with and I overcame makes me super qualified. Plus, my girlfriend, I recently discovered, we were having a conversation, and I found out that she matched with 970 guys on Tinder during the 5 months when she was on it. And that just blew my mind because okay, guys nowhere near as much. I knew women got so much more, but I didn't realize that much. And I'm like, all right, she got nearly 1,000 matches, and out of all of those, she chose me. So not to boast or brag or anything, but it's just okay, the skills that I've developed, the person that I've become, the confidence that I have, the openness, who I am as a person by working through all those fears has made me so attractive that she chose me out of all those nearly 1,000 men. So I realized everything from my past is telling me you will be the perfect dating coach. But there's something inside I'm I fucking hate the idea of being a dating coach. I don't know what it is. I just hate it. Even though I know I would do it differently, because most coaches are oh, it's about picking up women, and it's pickup lines and strategies and negging and all those things. And it's just it's such bullshit. It's yeah, I can work for some women temporarily, but at the end of the day, it's bullshit. And I've known that, and that's why I didn't get too deep into that. But I know that is how most of the market is run. And part of it is I know that if I become a dating coach, that's how people are going to view me. Oh, you're just a pickup artist. You just teach people bullshit techniques and stuff. And it's no, I teach people to be more confident so that they can then be themselves and attract the person they're meant to be with through that. So even if I did it, I know I would have done it different, but there was so much resistance. And for 4 days, I was struggling trying to figure out the perfect answer. And I just couldn't freaking do it. And there was this other thing I thought of all right, last year, that last job I had before I left to travel, I got myself a 20% salary increase in 30 days. So I started the job. First month I made 19, then because it was probationary period, and then I got 20. And after that, after I got the 20, I'm all right, what do I need to do in order for you to give me $25 per hour in the next 30 days? And he told me, all right, you need to do this, you need to do that and that. So I'm like, all right, if I do this in the next 30 days, you're going to give me $25 per hour. He said yes. So that's what I did. Went to work, did all the things that he asked me. At the end of the 30 days, I'm like, hey, remember that conversation we had? I did everything we discussed. Our agreement was that if I did that, you would give me $25 an hour. Are you going to give it to me? And because we had an agreement, he did it. So because I did the math, and because of the season in Canada for landscaping, you only work 9 months out of the year because in the winter it's too cold, 40 hours per week. I did the math for that. So I gave myself in 30 days an $8,000 per year increase just through that one slight strategy. So I realized that's a service I can offer to people. People who have a job, who are good at what they do, but either are underpaid or underappreciated. And it's just a question of, all right, using the right strategies to ask and put your bosses in a situation where they simply cannot say no. It's not going to work for everyone, but I'm that is a very valuable skill that I can offer. And I can afford to charge a lot for it. So the offer that I came up with is, I'm going to help people. I'm niching down on construction workers, landscapers, electricians, plumbers, those kinds of industries, because I know that. And I know that in general, they work with smaller teams, smaller companies. And the way it works, it's you can easily ask for a raise. It's not a big corporation where it's hey, you've been working for us for a year, so you get this percentage of raise or whatever. It's or McDonald's where it's a minimum wage, and if you ask for a raise and they don't want to give it to you, they'll just fire you and hire someone else who will take that money. So I niche down on that market because I know it and it seems right. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to help you. The way that it works is it's $1,000 deposit for us to work together. And then once we get you the raise, I get 50% of that raise for the year. So let's say we get you a 1,000 or $1 per hour increase for years, since the average person works 40 hours per week, 50 weeks per year. That's 2,000 hours of work per year. $1 more per hour times 2,000, that's 2,000 more per year. My fee for that is 1,000. You get to keep 1,000, and then every single year that you stay with that company, you get another 2,000 more than you would have had if you didn't get the raise. So everybody wins. Now, of course, if we get you like a $5,000 per year raise, that's $2,500 for me, $2,500 for you for the first year, and then, 5,000 every subsequent year. Same if we get like 10,000, I make 5, you make 5, and then so on and so forth. And it's like, it's such a good offer because let's say they get a raise. Let's say like we do super great and they get a $5,000 raise. So $5 an hour, and that's like, or sorry, 10,000 in the year. So like $5 an hour, just like I did. They make 10,000 more dollars per year. I get $5,000 for helping them. They get $5,000 for that first year and then 10,000 every year. If they stay there for 10 years, 10 times 10, $100,000 minus my $5,000 fees, in 10 years, they make $95,000 more because of that one single raise. Plus, I'm able to give them this strategy they can use to get more raise in the future and make even more money. So it's a truly irresistible offer. Plus, if for any reason they don't get a raise, I'm just going to give them a refund on that $1,000 deposit. So it's truly an irresistible offer for them. It doesn't require that much work for me. It's just the first week where it's like, hey, we share the strategy. He does a little research, come up with like all the reasons why he deserves a raise. Then we do a few practice to get the confidence and the communication skills up. He has a conversation with his boss. Either he gets the raise. If he doesn't, then he asks his boss, what do I need to do in order to get the raise in 30 days? Then he goes to do that, comes back, gets the raise. If for some reason he doesn't get it, then he realizes, okay, this is not a good place for me. I need to find another job where I can get raises. He starts looking for the job. Once he gets it, he comes back. We go through that same process again and get him the raise there. Or if for some reason he doesn't get the raise, but he still wants to stay, then he just gets a refund. So that is the business that I'm going into. I just finished working out the avatar or ideal customer today, the exact plan and strategy and everything. Send that to my coach like half an hour ago, waiting to get his feedback. But that is what I've been up to for the last while and what I'm focusing on now. And now that I'm super focused, I know exactly who to help and how to help them. Now I'm finally ready to begin that process of, all right, let's build up the business. Let's start getting clients. Let's get paid. All right. That was a pretty long video. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. And oh yeah, also update. You know what? I'm going to share that in another video because it's completely unrelated and it's not confirmed yet. So I'm just going to wait. Sorry for the false start. Thanks for being here and talk to you later.